Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hello, my crafty friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I have something very exciting to show you in this video. This darling pink box is Pink and Main's new card kit. They are starting a new monthly subscription box, and Michelle, the owner, asked if I wouldn't help get the word out. Of course I said yes, because I just adore Pink and Main's products. So let's see what's inside this little beauty. By joining the monthly subscription, you get an exclusive stamp and coordinating die set as a thank you for joining. And that's what this package is here. Everything's wrapped so cute. So their card kit is called Crafty Courtyard, and they ask that people subscribe for a minimum of 3 months, but after that they can cancel at any time. But if you stay for a year on your anniversary, you'll get a $25 store credit to use at pinkandmain.com. And of course, you can buy whatever you'd like there. And as long as you're a subscriber, you also get a 15% off discount on their products. So there's a lot of great deals going on here. Okay, so in this thank you goodie bag, you get this darling button, and it says a happy hello. I used to have a lot of buttons when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to them, but I'm going to have to start up a new collection of buttons. So cute. And this is the same font that you'll see on this stamp set behind it. And so you have the solid words and the outlines. And then at the bottom, you have lots of little options to go with these words, hi, hey, hello. And then you also get the coordinating dies. And I just love their pink dies. It just delights my heart. Pink is my favorite color. So, of course, you can use this to cut out the solid hello stamp, as you see here, or the outline one. I really like having the dies for my sentiments. It gives me a lot of options for my cards. The theme of this one is It's a Party. It gives you a little bit of information on it on this little postcard. And then on the back, it shows you the color scheme for this kit. I love all of those colors. They're so pretty. You have a lot of colors to work with in this kit. And now for the kit itself. It comes in this darling mesh bag. I just love it. You can use this to take your crafts on the go. At least that's what I'm planning to do with it. And then underneath you have your cardstock. And this cardstock is from the Basil brand. There's quite a bit of it. And I will show you the colors here. Just trying to be careful not to bend it, getting it out of this box. This first one is called High School. And then on the green, School Bus. And then this blue, it has some shimmer to it, and it's called Lakeside. This one's called Sidewalk. It's such a pretty pale gray. I really like that. And then this dotted one is called Fire Engine, and it has a little bit of texture to it. And then you have some white, 2 sheets of white. Okay, now it's pouch time. There's so much in this kit. I was really wowed by it. I love the little Pink and Main logo at the bottom of this pouch. Okay, first up is this beautiful green baker's twine. You get a solid and a stripe. Here are 3 yellow bows. I've never used bows like this on my card before, so I was really excited to give these a try. They're fabric bows, they're really pretty. Here are some of their glossy dots. This pack is called Birthday Boy. I love all the different sizes. Here's a pack of beautiful sequins. These are the confetti sequins that don't have the hole in the middle. I love these. Lots of different colors in this pack. This is an ink cube called Asphalt. It's a nice gray color. You also get a full bottle of embossing powder from Wow. It's called Metallic Silver Sparkle, and it sure does sparkle. I love this stuff. This is their 6x6 exclusive stamp set. This is a birthday party themed stamp set, as you can see, with all of these fabulous sentiments. These are very substantial sentiments, and I just love the different fonts that they come in. You also get the coordinating dies. This will cut out the happy birthday sentiment, and then you get balloons and stars and candles. Everything you need to make a birthday card. You get 4 white envelopes, which is very handy. I seem to go through envelopes pretty fast. I'm sure all of you do too. And then here's a cute little button, and I like that it has the color theme on it. I wonder if they're going to do that for each kit. It'd be fun to collect all of the different color themes. Love it. And lastly, you get a full paper pad. This is their 6x6 pattern paper. I love having the full pad of paper because then I don't hesitate to use it. When I just have one piece of each pattern, it kind of puts me on my guard a little bit. I don't want to waste it and ruin it. So with this whole pack of pattern paper, I just kind of dived right in and had so much fun with it. I'll flip through it here and just show you some of the cute patterns. They're also bright and fun. They're great for masculine cards as well as feminine cards, I think. And it doesn't even matter that it's double-sided because you get so many of the same pattern. You can cut right into it and not worry. So thank you again, Michelle, for sending me your beautiful card kit. And now let's jump right into the card crafting. On my first card, I'm cutting right into some of the cardstocks and the pattern paper. I'm going to use the Happy Birthday die on this piece of yellow cardstock. And I want it centered in this rectangle, so I'm just using a little bit of Post-it note tape to tape this in place so it doesn't shift while I run it through my Sizzix Big Shot machine. So here it is all cut out. And I'm going to use the negative piece of this cardstock. I'll save the letters for another card. I just love how wonky these letters are in this sentiment. Very fun. I am going to keep the centers of the A's and the P's and the D and so forth. I'm using my craft pick just to gently pull some of these letters out. And then there you have the die cut. I also really loved this blue spatter paint pattern paper. I also used this die on a piece of red fun foam. Doesn't necessarily have to be red, it's just what I had in my stash. I'm going to use this to prop up my yellow cardstock. It just adds some fun dimension to the card. I'm just dabbing on the glue. And then I could just place that over top. Now, I just wanted to take a second and show you something that I had purchased off of Pink and Main's website. When I saw this, it just delighted my heart because I do adore pink. And this is their pink tinted acrylic block. And this is the largest size they have in their store, and it's 3.5 inches. When I saw it, I knew that it had to be mine. But it really is a thing of beauty. I just love it. This fun foam had a sticky back to it, so I'm just pulling off the release paper. And I'm going to adhere that down on the side of my card. For the center of some of these words, I'm just going to glue them down flat. I'm using my jewel picker just to put those back in place. I went ahead and die cut the stars and dots. And as I was cutting them out, one of the first things I do is drop one of the dies. I thought it had fallen on the floor under my bookshelf, so I was looking under there. And I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to find it. I just hate losing dies. I pulled out one of the baskets that was nearby, and the first thing I see is this bright pink star die. So not only are these pink dies very aesthetically pleasing, but they're going to be easy to find if you happen to lose one like I did. I'm going to glue this whole panel onto a white card base. I'm just gently pressing that down, and that completes my first card. Just love how bright and happy this turned out. There's a peek at the inside. I used some of the die-cut words for that. On card number 2, I'm going to use the stamp set that came in the thank you goodie bag. Card number 2 is going to be more of a feminine card, and I do end up using a pink cardstock from my own stash for this. I'm stamping out the solid words onto a piece of white cardstock. I rubbed them with my fingers just to kind of condition them before I put ink on them. I am going to use that Wow Silver Sparkle embossing powder. So I came in with my anti-static bag first, and now I'm inking them up with some Versamark ink. And I'm going to do this a few times just because these are brand new stamps. And now I can pour over the embossing powder, and I'm using a type paper behind it just to catch the excess powder. That looks so beautiful. And I can just funnel the rest of that powder back into the little bottle. And now to melt the embossing powder. And this powder turns so bright and sparkly when it melts. It's just gorgeous. I'm not worrying about this paper warping because I am going to use the coordinating dies on these. So here they are, all cut out. So sparkly and fun. And I also used a pattern paper from the pad. And this was the back of the pad. I really liked this gray paper. I don't know if it was intended to be used, but I really liked it. So I cut it out with a wonky stitch die. And I adhered some more fun foam behind this gray piece. And I stamped out the word that says girlfriend. I thought that it needed just a little more sparkle, so I'm going to use some of the confetti sequins mix. I love all of the variety of color in this pack of sequins. A lot of colors to work with. The last thing I'm going to do on this card is pull out one of those pretty yellow bows. And I'm using some glue dots. A lot of glue dots on the back of this bow just to make sure it stays in place. And then I'm just going to attach that kind of askew at the top of the card. And that completes card number 2. On my next card, I'm going to use the happy birthday sentiment again, but this time I'm going to use the stamp. And I'm just kind of conditioning that with my fingers again. I'm going to stamp this up in the middle of my cardstock. I'm going to stamp it up with the asphalt gray ink. It's nice to have mini cubes in your stash because they don't take up a lot of room. I'm stamping this up a few times just because it is a new stamp. I like the color of this ink. It's not black, but it's just kind of a softer black, if that makes any sense. Just a softer dark gray. The balloon die you see on the right, I went ahead and cut out some balloons with it from a lot of the different pattern papers. I also cut it out with black because it has a great outline to it. And so each balloon is going to have a different pattern paper in it. First, I'm going to adhere down all of the balloon outlines. And I'm using some multimedia matte glue for this. I will be cutting off the excess from this panel. And now for the fun part, I'm going to put those balloon centers in. It just makes the card look so bright and fun. I love it. I cut out a piece of paper from this striped pattern paper just to save it. Nobody will know that it's missing. I just needed it for the edge. And then I can adhere this down to a white card base. This card kit came out at a perfect time for me because my stash of birthday cards is just dwindling. So I was able to add some fun birthday cards to my stash. I decided that I wanted to adhere some yellow die cuts over the sentiment just to make it pop a little bit more. So I die cut it out of yellow again, and I'm just putting a few of them over the stamped letters. I think that makes it look a lot brighter and fun. And there is my completed card, and I used some of the extras on the inside. On my next card, I'm going to create my own piece of pattern paper. I used the balloon die as well as the candle dies to create some homemade stamps. So I cut them out with some fun foam, and I put a little bit of Tombow adhesive behind them and let that dry. And then they will just stick to your acrylic block and come off easily. And they stamp out very crisp and clean. It's a very fun technique to do. So first off, I'm stamping out the little balloon. Next up is the candle, the little stripy one. And then the solid candle. And I've chosen Distress Oxides that match the colors of this card kit. And here's the teal for the stars. And the stars were already stamps from the stamp set, so that was easy enough to do. And I'm just stamping them randomly across this gray cardstock. I'm wiping off my beautiful acrylic block there just to keep it clean. I stamped out the sentiment that says "Let's Party" onto some yellow cardstock, and I'm going to cut that out with a die. I really like this yellow paper, so I was very careful not to waste any of it. I propped up my sentiment with some foam tape to put that in the center of this panel. And I'm going to adhere that onto another white card base. And then I wanted to add some fun detail to the images on this pattern paper. But first I'm going to crump the bottom edges. I'm using the 1/4 inch crump to crump the edges and soften them. And then I'm using the same dot stamp just to add a little bit of black, just to tie in this black sentiment. I think that really makes a difference on this panel. And then I'm coming in with a Copic multiliner to add string to my balloons. And also little details to the solid images of the candles. And I decided to pull out a white gel pen to add highlights on my balloons. All of these touches, these small touches, sure make a difference. I also stamped a balloon in the center. And that completes this card. And now for card number 5. I'm using this happy birthday sentiment again. I just can't seem to get enough of this one. I do get to all of the sentiments from this set and this series of cards, but I wanted to make a feminine card with this, one of my girlfriends. So I'm going to heat emboss this sentiment this time. I'm using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which will stay wet long enough for me to pour over some clear embossing powder. And then I'm going to use another piece of type paper and just pour over the clear embossing powder. I wanted to protect this sentiment because I'm going to be doing some Distress Oxide blending over it. and I wanted it to be a little bit shiny. So it's going to turn bright and shiny once the embossing powder has melted. The distress oxides I'm using are spun sugar and picked raspberry. I started out with spun sugar, but it wasn't bright enough for me, so I came in with some picked raspberry. Now I'm just buffing off the distress oxide from my sentiment. I'm using more bits and bobs of craft foam to put behind this panel. I'm using up all of my odd leftover pieces of the fun foam. I'm just going to set my pink acrylic block on top for a few minutes. I die cut more of the stars out of some of the cardstock. And then I also went ahead and stamped the sentiment that says girlfriend, and I cut that into a banner. It's a little bit longer than my card, but I come back and trim that with a pair of scissors. I'm adhering this panel to a piece of the teal cardstock from this kit. And one side of it is shiny, and one is more dull, and I'm using the shiny side, of course. It has kind of a textured look to this teal cardstock. It's really fun. It looks kind of like linen. And here is the completed card. I love pink and teal together, so I really love how this card turned out. So check out Pink & Main's new monthly subscription card kit. It goes on sale February 23rd, and they ship out March 15th. I hope you all enjoyed seeing the cards that I created with this fabulous card kit. Thank you so much for watching. I will be releasing part 2 of this video very shortly. As always, my friends, thanks so much for watching and for thumbs upping and all of your lovely comments. I really appreciate them. Bye.